Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from DeltiasGaming.com. In this video, I will share you 10 huge tips that will help you get started in Stalker 2. Survival isn't a matter of luck in the zone. It's about making the right choices at every turn, whether you're exploring the vast zone, battling mutants, or trying to unravel the mysteries of Chernobyl. These 10 tips are designed to guide you through some of the game's most critical moments, and trust me, there's a lot. Here's 10 I wish I knew before playing. Okay, if you've never played the Stalker series, it's more like a hardcore Fallout 4 on survival mode. So you're going to have all the survival mechanics. And tip number 1 is survival is basically essential in Stalker 2. It's the core mechanic of trying to stay alive, managing a lot of different elements in the game. So in order to survive, you're going to have to heal, eat, and drink water, and constantly. Unlike other games, your health bar doesn't regenerate naturally, and radiation can zap your strength quickly. Therefore, you will need to balance all the elements of survival, and it starts with being prepared. You need to be able to heal yourself. So how healing works in the game is there's main items for healing and secondary items. So main items are like medical kits, which offer strong healing. There's army medical kits, scientific kits. These are advanced versions of med kits providing more healing. And secondary items for healing are like bandages, which offer a medium range of healing, and food items, which offer weak healing but additional effects. So number 1, bandages. This is kind of like your lifeline. They seem simple, but they're essential in the game. So when you're bleeding, you're taking a gunshot wound, mutant bites, anomalies, you're going to lose health fast. Bandages stop the bleeding, giving you time to find safety and or use a med kit for burst healing. So the tips here are always carry 1 or 2 bandages for emergency, especially before firefights or mutant encounters. And also be careful to pick and choose those encounters that you engage with. Don't Rambo in running low on healing supplies. Sometimes it's just not worth it to push for an engagement at the risk of having 0 bandages or ways to heal yourself. Number 2 is med kits. Now these are for more serious wounds. So bandages sometimes aren't enough. Med kits restore health at a higher rate, but are going to be more costly to find and maintain these. So there's basic first aid kits, and then there's advanced, which we've covered later. Try your best to apply a bandage first to stop the damage, to stop the bleeding, then use a med kit if you need to maximize the effect or have a burst heal. Also, always think about the least healing mechanism to get the job done, meaning there's 0 reason to overheal in this game when supplies are limited. It's all about those supplies. So don't pop a med kit if you're just missing 5 or 6% of your health, where you could either eat food or use a bandage to get up to full. Next up is food. Stay fed, stay strong, just like in IRL, right? Eat big, get big. Food is more than just a health boost. It's vital for maintaining stamina. So without it, your stamina is going to deplete, leaving you vulnerable. So some good food choices are simply bread and sausages. Also a good food choice in real life. So keep food on hand, especially for long missions. Also keep enough supplies when you venture out and enough capacity remaining so you can haul valuable loot back. And then water is essential also for staving off dehydration and draining your stamina. So with low stamina, you're not going to be able to sprint, fight, or escape nearly as well, and both food and water are essential for this mechanic. Another tip, pretty obvious now, always carry 1 to 2 bottles of water and strategically drink during exploration. Up next is alcohol or vodka. It's a stalker's best friend. Vodka isn't just for celebrating or getting completely intoxicated. It's your go-to item for radiation exposure, so you can use it to quickly reduce radiation buildup. Again, keep a couple bottles on you when you can. So if you kind of got anything out of this tip, it's basically this. Before you set out, do it strategically. Make sure that you have 1 of 2 items of each of the supply, but you also don't want to over-encumber yourself, meaning you can't haul valuable loot back once you've obtained it. So you're setting off for an adventure, you're going to want a couple waters, food, vodka, healing supplies, and set out for your expected duration you intend to travel. Because survival in the zone is everything. If you can't survive, you're not going to advance and get the endgame gear, materials, and complete those quests. Tip number 2 is watch out for radiation buildup. Radiation is one of the zone's deadliest threats. Hotspots can silently drain your health, and if you're not careful, the effects can overwhelm you before you realize what's happening. Stay alert, stay alive. Always monitor your radiation meter in your HUD. This indicator is going to show how much radiation you're exposed to. A rising meter means increasing health loss over time and eventually death. So keep your eyes peeled on this meter at all times. And you're going to constantly scan your user interface for all of those signals that you need to address, whether it's water, whether it's dehydration, food, healing, and radiation. The game isn't going to have some big huge pop-up that says, hey idiot, you're about to die of radiation. So once you get some radiation built up, what do? Well, I'm glad you asked. Your radiation meter is going to fill up quickly and there's going to be anti-rad pills. And these are your first line of defense. You're going to want to carry a couple at all times. You're going to take them immediately to slow radiation damage. Remember, these rad pills are not a permanent solution. You can also use them preemptively as well if you know you're going to go into a situation that requires radiation exposure. Radiation hotspots and emissions. So certain areas are known for high radiation levels, including swamps, industrial zones, and rubble-filled towers. Be cautious of this emission. So it's going to be a sudden, powerful wave of radiation that can spike your exposure dramatically. And it's kind of annoying because you don't really know what to expect. So always use that radiation detector to assess the levels before entering unknown areas. So planning, preparing, and slowly venturing out when things are unknown to you is the best strategy for survival. Tip number 3 is seek shelter immediately during these emission episodes. So emissions are going to be the sudden birth of lethal radiation. It's going to kill you in seconds if you're not in shelter. So your survival is going to depend on how quickly you are to react to this. So number 1 is you need to recognize the signals for a possible emission. The sky is going to change colors. There's going to be eerie sounds in the air. You might hear alarms blaring, emergency warnings. There's going to be something spooky going on. This means stop what you're doing and find shelter immediately or you're deady spaghetti. Another idea is constantly think to yourself, if an emission happens right now, how far am I away to seek shelter? While it can strike at any time, constantly be thinking about where you would go next if it happened right then and right there, because it's always going to happen at an inconvenient time. You can find shelter in safe locations in underground bunkers, safe houses, hospitals, or reinforced structures. Seek any nearby building, abandoned shack, factory, whatever you can. Even animal shelters with little critters can shield you from the worst of the radiation. And emissions are going to vary in duration, lasting anywhere from a few minutes to a lot longer. So stay inside until the storm has completely passed to avoid taking massive unnecessary health damage. When you feel the spider senses coming on for an emission and the situation's getting a little bit weird, prepare to go to shelter. Tip number 4, use settlements to your advantage. So settlements are essential for survival and progress in the zone. They're going to offer vital resources, services, opportunities that can make your journey much easier. For instance, fast travel for convenience. Settlements can provide fast travel for a small fee after completing various quests. And while some people like just walking around everywhere, you want to take advantage of fast travel, especially to return and sell stuff and offload your inventory, heal up, and so forth. Speaking of that, you want to stock up on vendors once you arrive at these settlements. Obviously, refill on ammunition, med kits, food, bandages, you name it. Also, offload your stuff and make sure you don't have as much encumbered weight as possible. And their inventories rotate, so you can kind of come back and forth and maybe trigger a special item that you're looking for. Don't hoard your junk though, sell it. Especially if you're not going to use it, and have that minimum threshold of water, med kits, bandages, and survival supplies before setting out. Make sure you see your medic and technician. So medics can heal you and provide some of those medical supplies, while technicians can repair and upgrade your gear, because weapons and armor are going to degrade over time just like in real life. So you want to keep them in top shape before venturing out. You can also add attachments with a technician like scopes and silencers, improving your combat efficiency. Also, while you're there, rally up a bunch of the settlement NPCs and get quest and or turn in quests, because these are kind of like the hubs for picking up and completing quests and progressing. You can also build relationships with different factions, which is helpful for unlocking unique rewards and influencing your standing in the zone. So stock up in the settlements. They're more than pit stops. They let you pick up quests before venturing out and are a way to progress your character's strength and power. Tip number 5, mastering fighting mutants quickly. Mutants in the zone are going to be annoying, deadly creatures, each with their unique abilities and attack pattern. So you need to know what you're up against. Know your enemies, the flesh. These aggressive creatures charge at you relentlessly. So you want to try to use a precision weapon before they overwhelm you, and also be in the open space if you need to create space while they're charging you. The dogs can be really tricky, as they can create clones to confuse you. So shoot the duplicates to reveal the real Psy-Dog. It will glow when creating new clones. Focus on taking out the real one quickly to make the clones disappear. Blind dogs. Although they can't see, they have excellent hearing and will stalk you silently. So avoid making noises and stay still when possible if you haven't been detected yet. So different mutants are going to have their strengths and weaknesses, and you want to learn their behavior and also be specific and intentional when you go into an engagement. Do you have healing supplies? Do you have ammunition? Is it going to cost you more than it's worth to take out that little critter? Yes or no? Make those decisions before you go and move out. Also try to position yourself so you can get off a few rounds and or have room to escape if you don't get the kill shot right away. Tip number 6, use the Echo Detector to locate artifacts. Artifacts are like the Stalker's ultimate goal. They're found within dangerous anomalies, and these rare items provide powerful boosts to damage resistance, enhancing stamina generation, basically making them essential to collect for survival. So use the Echo Detector. Echo Detector is your friend for finding these artifacts. As you approach, they'll basically start beeping. The closer you get, the faster and louder the beeping becomes, with flashing intensity as well. So it's pretty obvious where you should go and how you should approach this. So anomalies are a bit tricky to navigate. There's electromagnetic fields, explosive air pockets, gravity distortions. Some are static while others move around unpredictably. So use an Echo Detector to identify their position and plan your route and expect the unexpected. Avoid triggering the anomalies as you collect the artifacts, and use tools or maps to strategically pinpoint safer paths than just YOLOing in. Also, you can wear protective gear before artifact hunting, like a protective anomaly suit. These suits can help mitigate the environmental hazards and increase your chance of retrieval and survival. Tip number 7 is everyone's favorite, managing your inventory. Efficient inventory management is crucial in the zone. Every item you carry contributes to your weight, affecting your stamina and mobility. So obvious tip here, avoid overloading. Carrying too much weight is going to drain your stamina. So what you need to do is prioritize the essentials for survival. You gotta shoot stuff or stab it. So you gotta have ammunition or a weapon that you can use when you're out of ammunition. You have to have med kits and bandages, food and water. Now the amount that you're gonna carry with you is gonna be dependent on how long you expect to be traveling out before you can restock. So armor and weapons, you wanna balance the weight with the utility. So you want something very, very heavy, might give you a lot of protection, but it's gonna slow you down if you like that playstyle. Moreover, you're not going to be able to carry as much and haul it back. There's a risk reward to light versus heavy armor, so make your decision carefully. And then have a running checklist of things that you always kind of go over right before you go back out. Ammunition, medicine, food, tools, and enough space so you can haul back important gear or precious finds. Always offload clutter, sell a bunch of junk, and then invest money into better equipment. So like artifact detectors, high-grade medkits, or more ammunition. Stay under the weight so you can maintain agility and efficiency in combat. Tip number 8 is build relationships with factions. So there's a few different factions to choose from, and your choice is going to directly impact your reputation with the game's faction, such as Freedom, Duty, and Clear Sky. So they're all going to have their own philosophy about the zone and unique resources to offer. So you basically want to complete missions for factions, boosting your reputation with them, granting access to better gear, safe houses, and key information. You got to keep in mind though, helping one faction is going to trigger another one. So if you take some missions from Freedom, this may anger Duty, potentially leading to eventually hostile encounters. So weigh the pros and cons of your alliance and who you side with. There's also going to be faction-specific quests, so these missions offer unique rewards, but can get a bit risky, high stakes. Might have to infiltrate enemy camps, sabotage equipment, or assassinate key figures. So you might get these from neutral factions, which may provide quests that avoid faction conflict. but weigh the pros and the cons. Is it worth doing this unique quest to make an enemy out of another faction? Tip number 9, use the right weapon for the right situation. In Stalker 2, there's a ton of different weapons to choose from, and they can be modified and customized as well. You got shotguns, assault rifles, snipers, just the usual suspects. So shotguns are ideal for close range combat, and sniper rifles and/or any type of rifle is going to be good for medium to long range combat. You want to essentially figure out what type of environment you're going to pick your engagements in. Shotgun is pretty much a no-brainer because there's always going to be situations where you're going inside the house. You can't always just basically be outside in the wide open to snipe everything down. So shotgun is the bread and butter one you're always going to want to keep on your person if you can going in close quarters. Also look for weapon modifications like scopes and silencers. Silencers will definitely help out with the stealth missions. Extended mags can be good if you have the ammunition and you're doing a prolonged fight. And also this is all dependent on your ammo because ammo is very scarce, so you don't want to miss a shot or engage unnecessarily. And also if you have tons of ammo for, let's say, assault rifle and maybe not shotgun, you're just going to bring what you have to the fight. Okay, tip number 10, pay attention to the environment. So the zone itself is basically your greatest enemy. It's going to be unpredictable. So you got to watch out for a lot of stuff. You got to watch out for anomalies, electromagnetic fields, gravity distortions, and traps. You're going to have to watch for invisible mutants ready to ambush you at any moment, hostile NPCs, bandits and factions that are trying to shake you down and kill you, and environmental tricks like seemingly harmless areas with poppy fields that can drain your stamina. We've already talked about radiation and so on and so forth. So use the landscape to your advantage, right? So when you're out in the open world, you want to have that sniper rifle on you, ready and equipped. When you're moving in through an urban environment, you're going to want to have that shotgun. You're always going to cognitively think to yourself, anomaly happens here, how can I find shelter quickly? And you're going to be running through the UI, checking if you're taking in radiation or other harmful effects, while maintaining the proper amount of supplies on you at all times to stay in the fight, heal yourself, stay fed, and hydrated. And the day and night cycle of the game may give you a strategic advantage when to push in an attack versus when to be out in the open world so you can see everything. Also, you want to carry a flashlight on you or night vision goggles for the nighttime missions. Adjust your plans based on the time of the day, the environment, or what you expect if you can predict anything in the zone. Well, gang, I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, do me a big favor, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe and leave me a comment. What's your favorite tip? Or if you have another tip for the community, please leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching.